Hello. Just to give an example of how dysgenic women are when they select men, I'm going to give an analogy of selecting cupcakes or whatever in a bakery. Imagine you have 100 cakes, and in that bakery you have 50 cakes that are above average and 50 cakes below, right? And then you have only 40 customers. And within the 50 above average cakes, you have 5 more tiers. So you have the top 10%, top 20, and so on, right? The top 10% could be like, baked in the honey from golden mountains in Nepal, and, have been blessed by, whatever you want. Use your imagination. Indian, Hindu priests or whatever you call them, right? And they've only got the top chocolate from the best countries on earth, and it's cooked by, say, Gordon Ramsay, or baked by Gordon Ramsay, and that would be like the top 1%. All right, so you have 1 or 2 up there, maybe top 10, right? But you have 40 customers, so obviously the 40 customers, depending on how much money they have, are going to choose the top 10%. So the 10 richest customers are by the top 10, and so on, down to the last 40. So you'd expect like the bottom half, the bottom 60% not to have been chosen, not to have been bought, right? But that's not what's happening when you consider modern dating. What women are doing, right? Women are going in, because let's be honest, a better analogy would be the top 10% are choosing the customers, but that's besides the point. So women are going in and choosing, some of them are choosing the top 10%, yeah. So the top 10 richest customers are choosing the top 10%, let's say. And then the rest of the women, no, that's not even a good analogy. Sorry, I'm thinking off the spot. So the top 10% of women are going in and looking at the cakes and saying, I can't be asked to do that. I've got better things to do. Maybe I'm not going to have a cake. Maybe about two of the richest women will choose them, right? And then the other cakes are just sitting there teasing all the other women, right? Or all the other customers. And then you've got the rest of the women. So you've got, right down to the bottom 0%. And the further you go down the scale of women, the more likely they are to take a cake, right? But instead of them choosing the top cakes, they get teased by the top cakes, and then the cakes don't want them because they can't afford them. So instead of choosing the next best cake, they choose cakes that are more suitable to them, even though they can get the top cakes at a cheaper price. So you have like an average woman will choose an average cake. And it's even worse than that, because going by statistics, you're having people who can afford top cakes and get even better cakes than they can afford, because so little want to buy the cakes. Like so many are choosing not to have cakes. Instead of going for the top cakes, they're going for the cakes that are out of date, cooked by amateurs with food poisoning, and probably cooked in India. You know what I mean? They're choosing those cakes, and then they're learning the recipes from those cakes and mixing their own knowledge with those recipes, and then the descendants of those cakes are completely dysfunctional and no longer cakes. They're you don't know what they are. They're like, some sort of number ridden toxic, excuse for foods. That's what's happening here. That's how women are going through the cake shop, basically.